Hello, hello, hello. Thank you so much for tuning in to the Corner Cafe this morning. I am your host, Angela West Brown, educational life coach and consultant, and today we will be discussing the 7 tips on how to manage stress while caring for a special needs sibling. Okay, so I wanted to first just let you all know that it is kind of hard, I understand, dealing with certain issues that may come up while you are trying to care for your sister or your brother with special needs, and it's okay. And that sometimes you have a little anger or resentment, having to deal with just society's response to you and just how you're handling the situations that have come about that you will have to handle when it comes to any situation dealing with your sibling with special needs. Now, I want to let you know just how you can go about handling the situations that may come about, and just to address that it's okay. It's completely okay. And that we, because I am a sibling of a sibling with special needs, have to get to a place where we're able to see their unique gifts and their talents, regardless of the barriers that they may have when it comes to any type of special need or intellectual disability, or even a developmental disability as well. So this is the ID or DD in acronym. But what I wanted to first talk about is just how to handle the embarrassment, and this is for my teens that are siblings with special needs. Sometimes when you're out in public, or you may be out for lunch or dinner, and sometimes they may have a tantrum or an episode, and you have to be strong for your mom or your dad and do what comes naturally to you to take care of your sibling, whether they're having a seizure or they're having a tantrum. You are there to help soothe and calm them, but at the same time you're having this internal dialogue of just, oh my God, and looking around and hoping no one is judging you, or talking about your sister or your brother in a negative way, and it can be a little draining and taxing on you as a person. And I understand, because I went through that myself growing up. And then sometimes, even into your adulthood, that shame or that embarrassment or that guilt carries over, because then you feel obligated to still take care of your adult sibling with special needs. And if you're not able to do so, it becomes a little taxing on you, and you feel guilty, like, why can't I, do this or that and the other. And sometimes, it's not just the financial strain of it. It is just the emotional strain of it, the social issues that come up when you're at church, or you're in your neighborhood, or you're in the grocery store, you're at the doctor's office with your sibling with special needs. You just, want to expect the best, when it comes to people being receiving and accepting, of your sibling with special needs. But sometimes you run into some ignorant individuals who do not care at all about what they say and how they say it. And you have to be prepared, or at least have a way to kind of manage that stress surrounding situations that come up. And, I wanted to just talk about how to have that internal peace that you need when dealing with situations that may come up. At some point, I would like for my siblings to call in and share your stories, share your experiences, and let's just have a safe space for us to come together and work this out, because the conversation has to be had. And I see that society is becoming around. They're becoming a little bit more accepting, but there's still work that needs to be done. Okay, and so this morning I just wanted to give my advice as a sibling of a special needs sibling and my experience. And so I just wanted to just share a little backstory about why I even started this mission, and why I wrote my book, and why I started this podcast, and just share with you what pushed me to put myself out there and share my story, because it took 30 something years to get to that point. So, okay, growing up, my sister and I were raised by my grandmother, and my sister has intellectual disabilities, and she was in special education courses. She was receiving SSI and Medicaid, so my grandmother had some financial assistance from that aspect, but there were still things that were needed that my grandmother didn't have access to. And as she progressed and went on to high school, I know now that it was so many things that needed to happen to transition my sister from high school into college, into adulthood. And by my grandmother raising us, it's certain things that she didn't know, it's certain things that she wasn't privy to, and she did the best she could. And so once she was preparing to graduate from high school, she was supposed to attend a local college that I now understand was a interrelations or inclusion, an inclusion program that a lot of the colleges have to provide educational resources and classes, and just the extension of education beyond high school and leading into college, and that lasts until they're about 22. Most times they receive certificates and sometimes even a college degree when they attend these inclusion programs. It's really just to help give them a well-rounded experience once they finish high school, to prepare them for life after high school and give them some college exposure, college classes, adult transitioning skills, and job skills. They give them just this complete, well-rounded experience. So Morris Brown was supposed to be that inclusion college that my sister would transition to. And I have to give it to the high school my sister went to. They did locate a service for her. Now, mind you, I am at college. I was not at home anymore, and I was kind of disconnected from this experience. So I would, find out things here and there when I would come home from school on the weekends, or once every 2 weeks or so, like that. So once Morris Brown closed their doors, there was no alternatives in place for my sister. And no one was knocking on my grandmother's door either, saying, hey, we have this other program, this, that, and the other. And I didn't know what to do or what to look for. I was really just, trying to just come to grips with the fact that my sister is grown now. She was over 18, and I'm just like, oh my God, this is not my little sister anymore. So I was just trying to come to grips with that. And so once my grandmother realized, oh my God, my sister is starting to want to leave the home more. She wants to experience life. She didn't want to be cooped up in the house, but she needed some type of structure ahead of time to help her learn these adult transitioning skills, and how to manage her money, and how to ride public transportation, and how to manage a home, and maybe a assisted living, like a group home or something like that. But a day program would have been excellent for her to attend. This is information I have learned now after working in the Department of Family and Children Services, ABDH, Blind Disabled Services. And so while working there, I just want to put a pin in that and just let you all know that while I was working there, I found so many resources and so much information that I said, you know what, I'm going to start keeping this information, creating a little file here so that I can refer back to this information and take it back to my grandmother. Once I would learn something, I would ask my grandma about it and ask her how she felt about it. Would she like to, look into this or that? But by that time, my sister was already, pretty much lost to the streets and doing her own thing. And I said, I just would like to prevent this from happening to anyone else, because after she graduated high school and she turned 18, she was seen as a legal adult at that time, and nothing else could be done. So all the resources I was finding really didn't help at that time, because she wasn't in high school, she wasn't in middle school. So I said, I need to get something in place to eliminate this from happening again. And so what I decided from there is to share my story and let people know what steps to take the next time this happens, or in a family, wherever you are across America, you will know what to do. Okay. And so back to what I was stating earlier, I was in college. My grandmother was here with my sister. She started running away. She started getting involved with the wrong people, because they are so easily manipulated, because they're so kind and loving, and they see everyone as a friend. And so this particular person wasn't a friend. He took advantage of her, and she ended up pregnant. And so in the midst of her being pregnant, she was also sexually assaulted, and she had domestic violence issues happening as well. And I felt like, oh my God, there's nothing I can do, and I wish I could do more. And now I can, for someone else that is having to go through this alone. You're not alone. There are resources out there. I have took it upon myself to say, you know what, I'm going to join every conference, every council, every mission that lines up with special needs families, and bring that information to you guys, whether it's on this podcast, on my social media pages, during speaking engagements. I am going to shout from the rooftops about the resources and just how to maneuver and guide you through this journey, because I felt alone for so long because I didn't reach out. I isolated myself, and I just was in my own head trying to figure this thing out on my own, and that was not the way to go. And at some point, my sister had the baby, and she's so beautiful. She named her after me. We went through a 3-year-long process fighting to get her, and we have her now. She's adopted, fully adopted, and she's a part of my family now. And now I can circle back and try to see what I can do for my sister. It will take a complete army to really pull her out of the streets and back into a stable environment and get her the help she needs. It's not easy once your sibling with special needs becomes an adult. It is not easy at all. And so that's why I wrote my book. I am on social media. I am constantly figuring out ways to help families avoid the heartache, avoid the confusion, avoid just the all around stress of trying to solve any and every concern, issue, heartache, situation that came up that could have been avoided. This morning, I wanted to share my top 7 tips, my advice to you as a sibling with special needs, on how to just manage the stress. Okay, and so I wanted to make sure that you all know that I am talking from an adult sibling of a special needs sibling that is an adult, but this is for teens that are siblings of a sibling with special needs, because I needed this as a teenager as well as a child. I needed this, and even now as an adult, I need this. And so my first tip for you, my number one advice to you, is to create a wide support system. Yes, create a large, wide, army is what I call it, of support, because you will need it. You will need it. You have to just share the responsibility. You don't have to carry this alone. You're there to support your parents. In my case, to support my grandparent. But you can share this amongst the community. Teachers will pitch in. Different community organizations will pitch in. You have different support groups online that can support you through the process, that have similar situations such as yourself. So don't seclude yourself. Okay. My second tip for you and advice would be to start being a voice now. I don't care how old you are. I don't care if you're 12. I don't care if you're 22, 32, 52. If you have not been an integral part of your siblings' decision-making process, start now. If you're a teen, I want the parents to start including the brothers and sisters in that process. Ask them, hey, what would you like to see happen for your sibling, for your brother, for your sister? What would you like to see them do as far as a program, or after high school or college? Whatever process is going on that you have to get some input, give the brothers and sisters input as well. And also right now, if you're an adult, just slowly start, finding out what can happen now, what questions need to be asked now to help the process. And so now, as a adult sibling of a special needs sibling, one of the things that I have decided to do is to become a IEP coach. And what an IEP is, it is the individualized education plan. Okay. And so I see where this could be a huge support for my families, and I will start that course very soon. And I'm excited, and I'm ready to share that information with you all. Okay, so the third tip would be to reach out to others, and we just stated that earlier. That was more so about getting family to help and pitch in. Uncles, cousins, brothers, everyone pitches in. Get them to therapy, physicals, doctor's appointments, programs. Everyone pitches in. But with this, I really want you to focus on networking with support groups in your local area as well as online, because you're not an island, and sometimes if we're alone too long, we start to really get into a dark place, and I don't want that for you. Okay. And I am certain that you are not the only one. I know it may feel that way right now, but when you start stepping out on faith and you ask God to put the right people in your corner, He'll start sending people your way just out of no way. You thought like, oh my God, I didn't know that they could, help with this, or they knew about that, or they could provide this financial assistance, because sometimes it's money just laying on the table and you don't know about it because you didn't reach out. Okay. And so right now we're going to take a commercial break, and I want you all to stay tuned. Okay. Because I have more tips to share with you. All right. I'll talk to y'all soon. We're back. We're back. All right, all right, all right. So, like we were discussing before the break, I am on the top 7 tips on how to manage stress while caring for a special needs sibling. And we are on tip number 4, okay? All right, so tip number 4. Make special time for your sibling, okay? Set aside time throughout the week or throughout the month. I know, it gets kind of hectic with your work schedule. If you have families, you're trying to manage your family's schedule. But you have to make time for your sibling, okay? So that could be a nice movie, getting pedicures, going out to a event, a place, something that your sibling loves that you two can share together, okay? And so a lot of times what I would do with my sister when I was able to was sometimes we would go and get pedicures. I would do her makeup and her hair, and we would go see a movie. She loved John Cena. Oh my God, she loved wrestling. So I would try to, give her something with John Cena on it, and we just had a good time. She enjoyed herself. Oh my God. Sometimes we would catch lunch, that's when she was, more stable, when she wasn't running away. I have not seen my sister in a while now, and I miss her so much. And, Sometimes I just go downtown where I would think she would be and just hope to see her, and I haven't been able to find her. I honestly believe that I would need to take 2 weeks off of work and already have organizations in place, and just it's gonna take a lot because she's grown now and I have to find her and I have to have the time. So I am looking at taking off some time to locate my sister and get her set up for success. I have my niece now. I have her daughter. She's safe. She's with me. And so now I can go back to, doing what I need to do to get my sister the help she needs. And I'm excited about that. My mind is just kind of wondering, where she could be right now. And I was looking at our pictures from the last time we had lunch. Excuse me. She looked so beautiful, and she's just so sweet, just spunky and sweet, but I just keep praying, and I'm finding different agencies and resources and just trying to figure out what I can do now, because she's over the age of 18, and there's not much I can do if I can't find her, and just the guilt surrounding that, not being able to help my sister the way I would like to, that's really hard for me. But I'm doing the best I can. I made the first step, which was getting my niece out of the system. I did not want my sister in foster care or under the state. I wanted her home with me. So that's done now. I can pedal back in so many words and do what I need to do for my sister. And so tip number 5 is make time to take care of yourself. So as you can tell, and as you know, for my siblings, it's a lot to handle when you're trying to be that backbone, that support system for your family, for your parents, for your mom, your dad, because as you get older, you can see, the stress on them, and you want to take some of that stress off of them. You want to alleviate as much pain as you can, even for your sister. But you cannot continue to pour out of an empty cup. You have to check in with you. You have to make sure that you are okay, that you are sane, your mental health is strong, that you have the strength to keep fighting this good fight, because it's an ongoing fight. It is a forever fight, because you're fighting for the right for your sister, your brother, to be able to live the fullest, best life that they can. Okay, so with that comes a strength that only God can give you. And so a part of that self-care is making sure you're tapped in spiritually. That's praying and talking to God daily, finding a church home, making sure that you're there regularly. I know that as we go about our daily lives, things get very hectic. Even for me, I know that I need to be more involved in church on a consistent basis. But I pray every day and ask God to guide me and cover me, and I want you to do the same, because it is not an easy road by any means, but you can do it. You can do it. I know you can. But I just want you to take care of you. I don't care if it's getting a pedicure, getting a massage, getting your favorite food somewhere. I know myself, I'll grab some hot wings and a cheesecake quick and a glass of wine and run over to a corner real quick, hey, this is for me. I know. But I have my, my thing, and you got to find your thing. So, tip number 6, focus on how your experiences have helped you. How has it helped you grow into the person you are today? What has it done to strengthen you, to make you stronger, to develop your character? How did it make you more aware and more sensitive as a person? Okay? Did it make you more tolerant of others? This situation gave you heart. It gave you that undeniable strength, okay? It's a lot of positivity that comes out of this. It is. And I want you to know that you're not alone. You're not by yourself. But it's many of you out here that don't even know your own strength to be able to be that backbone for your mother, for your father, for your grandparents, and for your sibling. You are amazing. That is undeniable. But I don't want you to look at your situation as a burden, as a curse, as something that held you back or made you weak or any of that, because you're vulnerable. You felt vulnerable. But that was you being beautiful. That vulnerability made you beautiful, okay? Because you can be more accepting of others and where they are, and accept them for where they are, not in a demeaning way or a condemning way, whether they have a disability or not. This situation taught you to be the best you can ever be, okay? And that's a blessing and an honor, okay? And tip number 7, and this goes hand in hand with tip number 6. Stop comparing yourself to others. Stop comparing your family to other families. Stop comparing your sibling to other siblings that may not have a disability, that may not have, situations happening like you do. Okay? You don't know what's happening in their home. You don't know what's happening with their brother, their sister. Okay? And so that's why this situation has taught you to be more understanding, to be more curious, to ask questions and not assume or prejudge, because you know what's happening in your own life and in your own home and with your own family, that you are able to understand when somebody else is going through something that may not be as visible. It may not be as prominent, but I promise you they're going through something. They're praying about something. So stop comparing your family, your sibling, your life to someone else that you feel has a perfect life, a perfect sibling, a perfect situation, because there is nothing perfect. And I know you may say, well, I know that, but some people don't. Okay? You may even be in denial that their situation is so grand, so perfect, so ideal, but they're only telling you a little bit, a little snippet. Okay? They're only telling you a little bit. So it's not good at all to feel some kind of way. Okay? So we're about to take one more break. You all have been great. And at some point, I need you all to call in. Call in with your questions, your answers to anything that someone else has asked that you may have an experience on or some input on. This is a dialogue. This is a conversation. Conversation is you and I talking about the issues in your community. Things that you want to see change. Things that you feel should have been done that are not being done or that can be done. Okay? So if you didn't get a chance to listen live today, you can pop into the Author's Corner Q&A. And that's on every third Thursday. You can instant message your questions. You can email me your questions. All of that. I want to hear from you. But right now, we're going to take a quick break. All right? And just listen to these smooth sounds of the next song. All right, we're back. And we were on our last and final tip, which was number 7. Okay. And that was stop comparing yourself to others. And so we're going to recap really quickly. Tip number 1, build a large, wide support system early. Tip number 2 is start being more engaged in a decision-making process with your family in regards to your special needs sibling. Tip number 3 is reach out to others. Build a strong support system. Join some online support systems, some local support groups. All right. Tip number 4, make special time. Set special time aside to spend with your sibling. Catch up. Go get pedicures. Get your nails done. Catch a movie. Okay. Tip number 5, make time for yourself. Self-care is the best care, all right? Tip number 6, focus on how your experiences have helped to shape, mold, and grow you. Tip number 7, stop comparing yourself to others. All right, it has been a pleasure, okay? I have enjoyed myself this morning with you guys. I hope to see you on every first and third Saturday here live at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time with your girl Angela West Brown, educational life coach and consultant, IEP coach, and educational empowerment motivational speaker. All right. You can follow me on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at ARW Brown ECCS1. All right. So I will let you all go. All right. Bye-bye.